last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Firmundis. Care to hear the story?
I enjoy listening to you talk.
There are few pleasures greater than speaking with a beautiful woman. Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Daenerys during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
I thought Daenerys considered you valuable.
He wasn't given a choice. The look on his face as the ship pulled out was priceless. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Daenerys finally came for me.
He was relieved to see you'd survived, right?
Relieved to see his investment hadn't ended up in Qunari hands, perhaps. I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Daenerys came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them. So I did. I killed them all.
Once a slave, always a slave.
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
This can't be easy to talk about.
I've never spoken about what happened to anyone. I've never wanted to. Perhaps this is what it means to have a friend.
It might mean more than that.
I have never allowed anyone too close. When my markings were created, the pain was extraordinary, and the memory lingers. But you are unlike any woman I have ever met. With you, it might be different.
We could find out.
On another evening, perhaps. A last toast, then. To the fallen.
Isabella, my dusky goddess. You have buried yourself in the flesh of my heart like a worm in a red, red apple. You heartworm, you.
Oh, look, my friend is here. Excuse me.
But I haven't gotten to the part where I invite you to feast upon my tender white flesh.
That's all right, I think I'll manage. Speaking of romance, you and Fenris, eh? That taut, controlled body, the brooding demeanor and intense gaze. I hear he still wears the shackles from his life in bondage under his clothes. You know what they say about men like that, don't you?
I'm going to regret asking you to continue, aren't I?
He can't find a saw. I had you there. You thought I was going to say something dirty.
And then Hawk tore the door clean off its hinges, walked into the room, and... I guess we'll finish this later.
Have you got a minute, Varric?
For you, I have all the time in the world. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you. People say you and that elf, you know, the angsty Tevinter one, are becoming quite the item. So, what's going on, Hawk?
Well, well, well. I never thought you were the type, Varric. I'm flattered.
It's the chest hair, isn't it? Women can never resist my chest hair. Unfortunately, it's not to be. I'm spoken for.
Bianca stands in my way again, does she?
What can I say? She's the jealous type. Listen, as your friend, I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say something. You do know the elf is covered in spikes, like an angsty porcupine. He might have some issues.
In all the time you've known me, have I ever given you the impression that I was turned off by crazy?
Okay, point taken.